guys, today we're reading One Pocket Irish Legend. So, let's begin. Get nice and warm and snuggly. Today we're reading this book. We're going to read all the stories in here over the next time. Today we're reading the introduction and the first story, because we're beginning today. Introduction. The rich and colorful history of Ireland is reflected in the legends and myths that have been handed down from generation to generation over hundreds of years, which are loved by children and adults alike. In days before most people were able to read or write, the stories were told by traveling storytellers or Sinchai, who would go village to village, receiving bed and board in return for a story or two. Later on, before radio, television, or internet came along and took all our attention, people would sit around the fire during long winter evenings telling old stories. Neighbors would call in to join the story sessions, and each family in a town or village would host the storytelling evenings in turn. Many legends passed down in this way were based on things that happened in history, and they were centered on people who actually existed. The coming of Christianity, the Vikings' invasions, and the English occupation of Ireland can all be found in these pages. Of course, as the year went by and the stories were told and retold, the tales were embroidered and embellished. The kings of old sometimes grew into giants or were given magical powers to help vanquish their enemies. Natural wonders such as the remarkable absence of snakes in Ireland and the amazingly intricate construction of the Giant's Causeway were interrupted in the legends of the St. Patrick and the snakes of Fionn Mac Cumhaill and the giant from Scotland in a way that could be understood by people with no knowledge of the natural sciences. In this book, you will find tales of beautiful princesses and handsome princes, brave kings, beautiful queens, wicked stepmothers, greedy landlords, willy druids, magical saints, magic spears, singing harps, huge monsters, slithering snakes, fierce dragons, cruel enchantments, courageous deeds, mischievous fairies, and clever leprechauns. There's even a fearless female pirate. These are stories of courage, love, betrayal, greed, stupidity, magic, and miracles. They were a means which people could escape their daily cares and problems, although a surprising number of tales are populated by people with exactly the same problems and eager listeners. Leprechaun Gold has been always a great way to draw for people with hardly any money. Of course, the humans are taken for fools, and the leprechauns win the day every time. The lovely names that many Irish people choose for their children show that there's still a lot of interest in old tales. All the Deirdres, Alfies, Connors, Grannies, Digmarids, Brians, Nimhams, Medivhs, and Oisins, will find themselves in the old legends. Deirdre of the Sorrows, the pursuit of Diarmuid and Grinny, Fionn Mac Cumhaill, and the Salmon of Knowledge, Austin T. Nog. Brian Brew, the Brown Bull of Cooley, the children of Lur. Just meeting people with these names keeps the old stories alive for whom connect us with history. Where does that name come from? A question easily answered with a story. Although fairies appear in many of the stories, these are not simple fairies tales. They are tales that reflect people's deepest emotions and concerns. You will probably even recognize yourself in some of them. People don't always deserve the misfortunes that come. There are ways in these stories, many of which don't have a happy ending. The heartbreakingly sad story of the children of Lur is a good example of an unhappy tale. But then life is like that. With 28 completely told and beautiful illustrated stories, there are some in this collection for very young or old to enjoy. To tell you guys right now, some of this stuff I think may be in Gaelic, so some of you might not understand some of the things I'm saying. Just heads up. So our first story is going to be Fionn Mac Cumhaill and the Salmon of Knowledge. Long ago in Ireland, the High King formed a special army of all of his best warriors. The group was known as the Fionna, and their job was to protect the king from his enemies. Their leader, the mightiest warrior of them all, was called Cumhaill. He was a great favorite of the king, and the other warriors were very jealous of him. They plotted against him, and one day they seized their chance and murdered him. His wife became afraid that their baby son, Fionn, would also be murdered. So she took him on a dangerous journey to a cave in the Citadel Blue Mountains where 2 women, 1 warrior, and 1 druid lived. She asked the woman to take care of the boy, to keep him safe and teach him everything they knew so that he would be able to pass the difficult initiation tests of the Fionna when he came of age. The women, who were called the Bobadil and Fionna, agreed to look after Fionn. We will call him Dixey, they said. We will hide him away such in a safe place that even you will not be able to find him. This was a great sacrifice for Fionn's mother, who loved her son dearly, but she knew that she would have to leave him and entrust him to the woman to guarantee his safety from his father's enemies. She made her sad farewells and returned to her home. As he grew up, Dimini O'Demne learned all of the things he would need to admit him to the ranks of Fionna. The woman taught him how to defend himself against the spears of 9 warriors, only using his shield. He learned how to live in the wild with only his spear to help him find enough food to eat. The woman also showed him how to make magic spells to defeat his enemies. These are all things that would be very useful during his life as a warrior. An Irish warrior also needed to learn the art of poetry, so when they had taught him all they knew, 2 women sent Dimini to study with the old poet Finnegas, who lived beside the great river Boyne. Finnegas had made his home beside a deep pool in the river. There was a legend that the Salmon of Knowledge lived in this pool, and the person who caught this salmon and ate it would know everything that there was to know in the world. One day Finnegas was fishing in the pool with his spear and suddenly shouted out to Dimini, "Come quickly, I finally caught the Salmon of Knowledge." Dimini immediately stopped what he was doing under Finnegas' instruction, built a fire, and made a spit to cook the great fish. "Whatever you do," ordered the man, "do not allow any of the cooked flesh to touch your mouth. I waited many years for this moment." And the precious gift of knowledge belongs my right. Oops, I want to show you the photo, last page. Sorry. Demone looked at the fish very carefully, but when the skin began to form a blister, he reached out to break it. The hot vat burned his thumb, and he put to his mouth to stop the pain. He just finished cooking the fish when Phineas returned. The old man looked at Demone's eye, and his precious gift of knowledge for what he had waited for all his life had passed Demone. Then he realized that there was something different about the young man, something he hadn't noticed before. What is your real name? He asked. My mother called me Fionn, son of Cumhaill. He replied, but why do you ask? I can teach you nothing more, Fionn Mac Cumhaill, said the old man. You must go to the king and take your father's place as commander of the Fionna, which is your destiny. Fionn thanked Phineas for all he had done for him and set out for the High King's palace at Tara. From that day on forward, he needed to know something. He had only had to put his thumb in his mouth for a moment when all was revealed.